Hi, Ann Cornick from Paintnporcelain. I'm here to teach beginners how to get started in China painting and also to recruit experienced painters to paint along with us. I found a trivet. I painted it. I broke out the trivet that was in here, an old one. I painted the frame black. And because I'm just painting on a tile, I don't have a lot of room, so I'm not going to clutter it with the background. I'm just going to keep it to the barn, and you can see when it's all done, it's really going to look nice on here. So I'm very pleased with that. We're going to get started on our piece. That's the final fire, no biggie. I've added one color, and I know I kind of pulled that out of the hat, but I kept looking at the picture I had, and I really liked the colors there. I was trying to get as close as possible. So I still have egg if you're a beginner, or any yellow will work. It doesn't matter. Just the brighter the yellow, the better. I have yellow red. You can always mix your yellow with your pomp if you're a beginner and make a yellow red, baby blue, moss green, black, yellow brown. I've added cobalt. For me, it's cobalt. For you, it would be banding blue. So those are colors that we will be using. Okay, I'm going to tip you down. We'll get started here. I'm going to use my number 10 brush to put the black on with. And pull my paints up here. And I'm just going to really load the brush. Can you see that? When you really want to load the brush but not get it too thick, you can just go in and swirl and pick it up like that, and it will work for you. And then I'm just going to pull down from the top on this. I need a little more oil. It was fighting me. There we go. Now, because this is the first color you're putting on here, if you get it up into the top, it's not going to matter. You can always take that off with a little bit of turpentine or mineral spirits on your brush. Clean it off really well so it doesn't bleed, but you can do that. And that's what I'm going to probably have to do, because I want to come straight down on this color. And just come straight down. Alrighty. Then I'm going to clean my brush really well. And you see I still had some color on there. That means it's not completely clean. So I'm going to tap both sides against the side of the jar. That's a little better. And I'm just going to flip it around. Go up here and clean off. I only used mineral spirits. I'm going to clean off that roof. Let's see what I'm doing here. Okay. And if it comes out to the edge, I can just wipe it with my finger and get this right here. Well, okay. Alrighty, now I'm going to go into my cobalt. And I'm going to start wiping from this bottom of this line right here up. Let me get a little more cobalt on there. And you're going to have to load frequently. And you lift as you get near the black, because you don't want to take the black off. You see how that changed the color of the barn up in there? I think I want this a little more. You may have to wipe the color off. I'm going to add a little black right here. This lifted a little for me, and I want it really black up near the top, near the ridge line. Okay. And I really like the cobalt blue. Then over on this side, I'm actually going to go back and use some of the turquoise. Or baby blue. If you have baby blue, that's what you would be using. Now, when I get down in here, I have some other colors in there. So I'm just going to go here and pull up the blue. pull it down again. And I have a little bit of yellow red right here, and then I have yellow red down in here. Up in this section, I'm going to use this brush. Okay, this one is Jane Houston. It's a number 2, and it has a real pointy end on it. I tried this the other day, don't use it very often, for this particular application, and I was astounded with how well it worked. Okay, I'm going to put a little more of the green on here, the blue on here, and pull up. And there we go. Now, I still think it might be a little bit too dark up in here. I'm going to take a little bit of the cobalt. Now, you can mix your colors. You don't have to use one color for the whole thing. You can mix your colors. And here I'm using cobalt, and I'm just going up. And you see how I've got all the mixture of colors? It's like watercolor. That's what's so cool. Okay, clean it off. And now I'm going to go over on this side. And I'm just going, this side right here. And I'm just going to pull it down a little more. There we go, a little more black in there. And then I'm taking my Jane Houston brush with the yellow red on it, and I'm going to start pulling down the reds up in here. And pulling them, maybe pulling them back up into that black, because that black seems to be getting in the way. There we go. And then I'm going to take and start like we did last week with the lightest colors first and work on from there. So we're going to go back to our yellow, and we're going to start with the yellow and make it more yellow. Putting a little yellow down in here. We missed that until the very end last time. And if you do build up a little, if it gets kind of, you know, looks more like oil paint, be careful, because it can pop off. It just depends how you fire your stuff, okay? So if you fire well, you'll be fine. But some people, if you don't fire hot, you know, like 017 or better is what I'm being told. I don't really have a kiln that tells me what I'm firing at. I'm using the green now. And the thing I like about this, it can pop off though if you get too heavy. And this kind of a brush will put it on a little heavier than you're used to. So here, I'm just putting the color in. Can you see how I'm just putting the color in? I'm putting a little up in here, a little up in here. I'm looking at my picture, this picture here. I'm looking at that, and I'm adding color. I'm adding a little down here. I'm working from the lighter colors to the darker colors. Now up in here, I want it to look patchy. Do you see what I did there? I just took the green. Let me find another spot I can do this. Up in here. And just did it patchy. Just dab it. Like over in here. Dab the green. It's going to give your barn, see how that turned out? It gives your barn a real worn look, and that's kind of what you want. Up and through here, same thing. I want to dab the color on, and this brush is ideal for doing that. Okay, I think that's all the green I wanted to put. Maybe there's a little green right here. I should probably do that, yeah. There's a little green right here that could be a little darker, and a little green right here that could be a little darker. But I'm dabbing. And I'm going to have to go back in those areas. Now see, this is what I've got done so far. And I'm going to take a little of the turquoise and do the same thing, because some of these areas here I want a little more, of that turquoise in there. And I'm just dabbing. I'm not really painting heavily. I'm just dabbing that color in there. Now this window, I want it to be different. I'm going to take, and without cleaning my brush, I went right into my cobalt, or you can also use, like we said, the banding, and you can make that darker like that. And it just changes the color a little bit. I like the change in color. So it's up to you. You can add the new cobalt here and there. I'm still in the cobalt now. I'm going to do a little cobalt up in here, there, maybe a little there. And then on this side, it has quite a bit. So I'm going to, and I put it over that turquoisey color because or your baby blue, because I think it really helps. And I'm just going to put a little more down in here. And do a little more down in here, up in there. And then I'm going to get my red, and I'm going to go back and add the red, make sure that the red's in there. Okay. And that's what I have. Now up in here, I want a little more blue. And so I do want to go for the turquoisey blue, the baby blue, if you're using your colors. And I'm just going to put it in, and I put it in dark. Do you see how dark I put that in? And that's because of this brush. This brush is wonderful. I'm really impressed. I haven't used it very often, but the few times that I have used it has been wonderful. And also leave some white. It's important that you leave a little white. Now up here, this window is supposed to be blue. I didn't paint it all blue. I just painted a little blue up there. Okay. And the final color we're going to go back and do is the black. And we're just going to go over the areas that have black to make them more black. And this brush works very well for that. The other thing is, you want some of the black just to be plopped on there. See how I'm doing my darks? I'm just taking this brush and filling it in. So just go through now and finish out all these areas that you want really dark. They're back in the barn. And a small brush like this with a point on it is particularly good for this type of thing. See, here I haven't done yet. Up in here, and you can tell it's light, and I want it real dark. I'm turning now because I'm working on the top. And see what a difference that makes on that window? And then I'm going to turn it this way because you don't want to put your hand in it if you can help it. I'm going to work up in here. So let me get real close so you can see, because it's hard, I know. And I'm always kind of far away, but see what I'm doing? I'm just painting in the blacks up here. And then I'm going to turn it so that I've got some white to put my hand on here. Always think that through if you can. That's kind of why I do too if I mess up one. I've got another one to fall back on. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm out of the, and I'm covering it too. There we go. I don't paint as well when I don't paint backhanded. Okay, now I'm looking at the barn picture one last time. There's a little black here. There's a little black up in here. There's a little black over in here. There's a little black down in here. I'm just following the picture. And then up in here, right here, there's a little bit of black. So I'm going to put a little bit of black up in there. But I kind of like the color, so I don't want to hide the color. Let me just pull it down there. Okay. Okay, now, cleaning my brush off really good. I don't know if the brush is the best thing to use for this, but I'm going to go back and try to clean some of the black that I got on the sides here and the blues off. Okay. Your color underneath will stay. So like up here, I want that little window to show. I went over it with the darker color, so I'm just pulling the darker color off. And then there's a, where is it? I lost it. It's up in here. There it is. Can you see that little vent up there? Whoop. That's what happens when you get too much oil on there. Okay, let me clean that up. This is how you do it. Play with it until it gets gone. I'll take a Q-tip and I'll just come along and clean all that up. Okay. Okay. Phew, almost killed that. Go back in, a little oil. Actually, let me use my finer brush. Put a little black on it. And we'll come up here and we'll go around that without getting on that guy. There we go. Okay. All right. The only other thing I need to do, and it won't take much, is to take my my Pico-Pay and just gonna do a few of these if it helps. I don't know that it will, but it might. Make sure you sign your name. Okay, so this is my version. This is the original. Pretty close, I'd say. I do like the cobalt. And I added the cobalt up in here, and I do like that. You can see, I'm going to bring it real close for you to see. Okay. That was a fairly easy, I think, project. I think anybody could do it if you are new to China painting. It's not an exacting thing. You don't have to know a lot about how to put the color on. You just need to put the color on, and you use flat color on your brush, which makes it a lot easier for you to use if you just load the brush with a single flat load and just paint on it. Also, if you have a brush like this, which is, oops, here, let me put it in front of my face. That's a really nice brush to use for some of these other little colors and things that we put in there. I'm going to fire that. I'm sure it's going to turn out about the same color as it is now. Pick up those brushes, keep painting. I'll see you next time. I hope you enjoyed the program, and I hope you'll take a minute to subscribe so that other people can learn more about China painting and we can get the word out to more people. You also can look at the links below. My Paintnporcelain.com website has a lot of freebies and printables for new and experienced painters, as well as studies, supplies, and even some of my hand-painted china. So thank you again, and I'll see you next time.